Are we live?
Yeah,
Good, and you see me?
I do.
Yes, and our audience see us too. So welcome, good people, and my personal apologies for messing up the previous week. I had a hectic schedule and we kind of missed it. So we will do our best to make it up today, this time. So episode 10, Levi, welcome and thank
Welcome.
you.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
And good evening and good night, as Jim Kelly
Yeah,
said.
good evening too. Yep, I'm sure.
It was Truman Show, I believe. So we have an interesting topic today. We have barbells on a grill. So we are going to talk about barbells in relation to kettlebell sport and like to kettlebell or in training in general. And we are very committed to the habits and to the rituals. So the mic goes over to Levi, and you're going to start talking about barbells.
Yeah. So, like we had discussed before we started recording, and I get this question often on social media, whether it's Instagram or YouTube. Um, it's what am I doing? So, if you follow me on YouTube or social media, you'll notice that I post a lot of my kettlebell training sets. Both from a training for competition and from a GPP standpoint. And the question that I get often in the comments and direct messages is, what am I doing off camera? Like, why don't I show what I'm doing with the bar, kettlebells? Like, what is, and so the short answer is, what you see online is what I do, throughout my training week, and which is kettlebell training, and some minor or basic calisthenics. You probably see me do lots of burpees. There's a handful of pull-ups and push-ups and dead bugs and planks, things like that. But the majority of anything that I'm doing is absolutely kettlebells, and there's a few reasons for that. There is no secret barbell workout that I do for hypertrophy or hypertrophy, and there is no powerlifting that I do behind the scenes. There is no bodybuilding that I do. I don't enjoy that. One, from a training method. I really feel like you have to 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 train in a sustainable manner. You have to enjoy what you're doing. So I don't like to run. It's hard on my knees and my hips, my back. I don't like to deadlift with a bar. It puts me in an uncomfortable position. Um, a trap bar is better, but I still just don't enjoy it. I get plenty of hinging with my kettlebell movements. I don't have max strength goals, and so there's no real reason for me to um, squat and deadlift heavy or press heavy. Getting underneath um, a bar to do bench press or to do overhead presses, it's just not something that it's very difficult. The bar locks my shoulders into a position that tends to be unforgiving. My exercise or sport history um, with wrestling and football, American football, just it beat me up back then, way back in the 90s and early 2000s when I was competing as an athlete. I didn't take care of myself. I was over fat and under strong for my body size, and that put a lot of unnecessary strain on my joints and muscles, as you can imagine. And I took a lot of wear and tear into my 20s and 30s, and it just now once I got full time into kettlebell training, um, it's so much easier on my joints. It allows me to move in ranges of motion that the bar doesn't, and it's something that I absolutely enjoy and has become sustainable for me. So that is why I choose to use kettlebells and calisthenics only. So when I reach out to Michael for programming for an event or a competition, he's aware of my desires and my limitations, and so um, what he offers in programming is kettlebell based with some basic calisthenics involved, or a row machine, or a ski erg, things like that, where I can get some real simple cardio in that's not stressing my muscles and joints in a way that kettlebells do. So that's what I do. So I know that that's not what people necessarily want to hear or believe, but eating and training the way that I do has allowed me to look and move and feel the way that I feel and look and move. So yeah, there is no secret training sessions. Like I said, like I've told many people, like I've got 2 businesses, a family, I volunteer at church. I'm busy. Like the 30 to 40 minutes that I right now dedicate to my training a day is all I can dedicate to my training. By the time a guy in his mid 40s recovers from what he's doing, I just don't have the additional time to do all that other kind of stuff and still recover from. I'd have to take away from what I enjoy doing and add a bunch of things that I don't enjoy doing, and there just isn't something that's not something I'm willing to do. So that's the rambled version of why Levi trains the way he trains. And I know you're going to address actually adding a bar to support your kettlebell goals. And so I'm ready to hear that.
Yes. Actually, okay, I'll pick up from where you said about coaching. We tried to use barbell in the beginning of our professional relationship, and it did work to some extent, but the ROI wasn't worth the investment and risking of necessary injury, okay, just for fulfilling some my personal preferences. So again, it's like a small outside footnote about coaching. Coaching is always adapted for the person and for the athlete, never vice versa, right? And this is something that must be taken into consideration, because there are stuff you need to try. Yeah, like I love swimming, okay, but I won't push anybody into the pool, although I'm a huge believer in it, right? Because this is something what I do. And all right, so barbells. Here's the thing, and you've mentioned it very precisely. Max goals. We have a little bit of distorted views, for lack of a better word. I kind of forget what the word I want to use, but anyway, the descriptions, associations, hear the word, okay? So when we hear barbell, it's kind of associated with powerlifting only. It's very hard for some people, okay, to hear barbell as a barbell. It's a tool, all right? Merely, it's not for powerlifting alone. And then people, what else do you do with it then? All right? So let's take it from the beginning. One of the best descriptions for functional training I've read in Mark Ripito's Starting Strength. And he said that functional training is a basic human movement pattern, basically our motor development patterns, loaded with measurable and adjustable weights. Very simple. That's why we squat, deadlift. Bench is more for powerlifters, like military process, etc. That's it. So to me, barbell is a great and easiest tool to go for this wide base of bone strength, joint strength, and basic ability and sustainability of a body to sustain volume. And I've done it myself. I love the barbell, but my weights, the weight on the barbell is irrelevant. This is the second point that people need to understand. All right, you don't have to double bodyweight squat, to triple bodyweight deadlift. It's absolutely irrelevant. Okay, what relevant is what and how your body feels and how it responds. So when you when you build a wide base, okay, like really base of support of your joints, why doing like powerlifting style training, all right, of heavy squats, and sometimes squats are done for high numbers, and deadlifts, and I'll talk about specificity of kettlebell training, like barbell training. Then your body can take volume beating almost without injuries. And I've proved it one time too many when I swam, like after like just doing barbells, and I swam a little bit for technical efficiency, and then I just did an upper water swim, running, all right, like kettlebell endurance wise, and again, barbell strengths, like leg strengths, I just run. I have no problems with that. And I don't need to do this like, volume of running, because as you said, I don't have that time. Okay, time is luxury. And I don't have this luxury, like, to go on a 2-hour run and then 2-hour biking, although I would like to, maybe. Okay, so please, let's see the barbell as just a tool completely unattached to powerlifting as a specific type of training. Second thing, you've mentioned like your physique, and I believe people do like need to realize, and most of them don't, the amount of weight that you're actually lifting, because what they see on a screen is you lifting a pair of kettlebells. Many of them have no idea what is it to do long cycle with 32s or 36 for a long time, okay, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes sets. What does it mean to do this volume? And it brings me to this thing that our body composition are a byproduct of our main thing, okay, that we do. You lift this heavy, like it's not double 16s, it's not the weights that I'm using, okay, you're like lifting real weights, and your body responds for the real weights being close to failure, okay, like maxing out on like kettlebell, like long cycle sets, and doing the squats that you do, and hence the physique that you have, plus a clean eating, all right? For the same extent, like when I really get into swimming, I begin to get this swimmer definition, but I will never sell it like, oh, if you want to look slim, come on, jump into pool and let's do like, laps. Like,
Yeah.
you have way easier way to attain it.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't care, quote unquote, how I look. I love to attain stuff. Like I have now, my goal is 1 kilometer of butterfly consecutive swimming. It's a hell of a style. It's a journey for me to really to unwind my body. And then my body will look like it looks. But again, I don't care. Like for me, I want to nail this goal. But like people will see the outcome. Oh, you like look like your shoulders, and like, what do you do? Like I swim a lot. Like I swim like you lift. All right, doing laps of butterfly in the pool kicks ass eventually. So physique wise, and barbell is an accessory tool. Eventually, let's bring it home for the kettlebell lovers. So barbell is an accessory tool. Training cycle wise, in the off season, let's say, if you can do barbells, the obvious squat, because it's a great hormonal exercise for overall body. Like again, heavy squats relative to you. Okay, please.
Right.
All right, and if it's correct to you, you will get this testosterone boost. And post 40, it's hugely, all right. Like we need it. Like man, we must have it. Women too. All right, and like trust me, barbell is not that heavy. Like it's about 200 pounds, maybe less. Like I'm switching like kilograms. Like if you're like training smart, there is no reason you're not squatting 100 kilograms. Like it's pretty light barbell in powerlifting world. All right, but it does deliver. Like you want testosterone, you don't need huge amount of weight. all right? But when it does, it's the growth hormone, your recovery, your bone density, your ligament strength, and you can handle kettlebells again for a long period of time. So off season, it's like basic barbell squats. I would go for trap bar deadlifts, as you mentioned, because like the barbell deadlift is a more specific exercise. Trap bar is now I've come to understand that like it's the go-to for athletic development because you really can deadlift, you can load your body, it will produce the same, okay, hormonal response, and you can do plyo strength with it because if you know how you can jump with it, and then it creates a very interesting effect in adaptations, right? So like squats and deadlifts, barbell-wise, like trap bar, like bench pressing, again, like here, I'm like, it's nice exercise, but for kettlebells, dumbbells are far better, and loaded dips are my go-to choice, all right? Because this has a great carryover both on your chest, your triceps, which is our locking mechanism for kettlebell sports, and like it's a great body weight exercise. So basically, here we are. We have like, you know, two barbell exercises. That you can have it. Mixing wise, what I do like, again, I can allow myself, I kind of allocate the time to do like a kettlebell session, and then I'm going to the barbell. So my training session can last about like, you know, maybe 2 hours. And again, this is me time. This is, I can afford it. I can allocate it, not always, but when I can, this is what I do because kettlebells are a great warm up, like for barbells. And because kettlebell comes first, the barbell won't interfere with your kettlebell gains because we are having this master switch, okay, this enzyme in our body that can go either way. And we flip it with the first physiological activation. So if you're starting with endurance, this switch flips to endurance, and regardless what you do after that, it will stay kind of on endurance. So if you're doing some minor barbell work for complementary lifting, you are like, you'll be far off, okay? You won't become a powerlifter, okay? And again, if you have a program and if you're doing it in a smart manner. Volume-wise, for barbell lifts, so we have this classic exercise is a deadlift for 100 repetitions, half of your body weight. And this is a specific exercise for conditioning both the hinging and your lower back endurance. Right, and this is something that if you're starting to lift kettlebells, if you need to condition, okay, your lower back before you starting prepping for some like competition, maybe 1 hour snatch, like any like real preparation, serious preparation, we do this very short microcycle of volume deadlifting, and then we stay with a barbell, like it's not even a half squat, okay? It's like barbell hops when we are hopping with a barbell on our shoulders. Now I know like Vasiliev does it with kettlebell. He promotes it's all like it's the same exercise. And I like the barbell again because first of all because of stabilization, because it's wider, and second, we put on a barbell a total weight, like a slightly higher of your target kettlebell set. What I mean, so if you're preparing to work with a 232 kilos, you will do these barbell hops, okay, like to condition your quads, because this is the acceleration phase, okay? This is what we do here. You want to load the barbell for 65 kilos. So it's the sum of the 232 kettlebells that is on the barbell, okay? 64 with 2 kettlebells, 65 on the barbell, all right? Just for the easy math. and you are prepping your legs to work to push the exact weight, okay, 1-to-1 ratio correlation that you're going to do in your main set. Great exercise, great athletic exercise. People with like decent shoulder flexibility, okay? Don't have to be this perfect low bar because you're not a powerlifter. All right, the weightlifter high bar, if you can handle it, it's your go-to exercise. And this is something that is done as specific accessory exercise for kettlebell sport as a barbell, like complementary exercise, usually again for the hormonal boost, okay, for the ligament and bone strength. If you're doing once a week heavy squats and heavy deadlifts, not like your real 1RM as on powerlifting meet, but heavies like, I don't know, 4 sets of twos, like 5 sets of threes, okay, around this volume, you will be fine. All right, you don't need much. You will recover, and your body will sustain. Again, like you will learn what you need. So it will be like 4 or 5 sets of doubles and triples, and then you're finishing with, I love, okay, to finishing with a one metabolic set of 25 to 30 consecutive reps, with obviously a lower weight on the barbell. Okay, so this is like this basic structure of how I use it and how I prescribe it to people who are willing to do it and who have an access to the gym and they're fine doing barbell. Again, volume wise, free time wise, goal specificity wise, right? And like, like this general orientation, because otherwise we are doing a very strict minimalistic programs. Like, again, we do with Levi, and he does nothing but the thing that we're preparing for now, right? That's it. So this is my $2.
Yeah. Let me finish with why I remember now the comment that initiated this conversation. It was on so you program for me right now, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, my 2 bell sets, and I like to stay busy. Movement and exercise is and so on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do unloaded training, which often is uh, different formats of burpees, and sometimes I'll throw in the skier and the rower. This particular comment was on a burpee video, and I absolutely enjoy doing burpees. And so it's something that, because I enjoy doing them and I recover well from them, they're taxing while I'm doing them, obviously, but it's not something that has that's going to get in the way of my 2 bell set. So if I do a hard 2 bell set on Monday and I have a hard one on Wednesday, I can get away with doing some high volume burpees on Tuesdays, Thursdays. So this particular commenter had told me how stupid I was for doing high volume burpees, not knowing anything about. He just happened to come across my video and wanted to let me know how much smarter he is than me, which awesome, maybe, and how dumb I am for doing that many burpees because they're just for muscular endurance. So again, a person making the assumption that I care about bodybuilding. Nothing wrong with bodybuilding. It's not for me. Here's a person making an assumption that I'm wasting my efforts, working on my max strength. Max strength does not interest me. I don't care. And if that's your goal, man, pursue your goal with everything. My goal is 10 minutes with 32s long cycle. That is a very specific muscular event. And I need to continue to work and build that engine to perform that. And I was doing, this particular session was tempo burpees. I was doing 15 burpees a minute. The first minute was 1 every 4 seconds. The next minute was 5 every 20 seconds. The third minute was 8 and 30 seconds, 7 and 30 seconds. And then the fourth minute was 15, as quickly as I could. And I did that for 3 rounds. So quick math, that's 12 minutes. I took an extra 1 minute rest, and I did it for 3 more rounds. So that ends
Cool.
up being 360 burpees in just under 25 minutes. And so that's what that's way too much muscular endurance. Like, well, until I hit my goal with my 32s, it's not enough muscular endurance. And so we just need to remember that when you have a goal, you need to choose methods. And again, there's not that you can't use a barbell for your GS goals. I just don't want to use a barbell for my GS goals. I just don't feel good using it. And so it's not a sustainable approach for me long term. And I choose to do what I choose to do. And, I will tell anyone that'll listen to me about the burpee is that done well, it can change a lot about your mindset and your physique. Unfortunately, what we see in the West is a lot of burpees done not very well. We see a lot of people that are not strong enough to do them. We see a lot of people we see a lot of bad trainers or bad programmers just throwing them in as fillers. If you can't do them well, then you shouldn't do them. If you can't do basic push-ups, you shouldn't do them. If you can't do basic, squatting, you shouldn't do them. Work on the basic. Yeah, you should be able to squat well and do push-ups well. You should be able to hold a plank. Those should be your prerequisites to doing burpees, especially high volume burpees. And so, use them. But again, that comes down, like you were talking about, is a coach adapting to their athlete or to their client. You're not going to force me to do something that I'm not willing to do or do well or do safely. I use burpees very sporadically with my clients. If they can't handle them, we don't do them. If they don't want to do them, we don't do them. And so it just kind of depends on the individual or the person. But that's as you were talking, talking about your coaching and how you're adapting maybe some of your philosophies for your clients, that's what kind of jumped in, or you reminded me of that interaction I had online.
Yeah, we are but the humble servants of people. And like you've said, and I want really to emphasize for our listeners, like what you said, like your key sentence now was, I do burpees, I recover well from them. And I recover well from barbell lifts. And we're coming again to the understanding of like a personal understanding and understanding of a coach of his athletes. Because if you do not recover well, we won't do them, right? Because again, it interferes with the goal. And as Ross and Aaron might, I believe it's Les Lamb said, and I watched this video, he said very like, he said it very intelligently, because you had like Ronnie Coleman, I believe, was like, there is no rest days, or who was this bodybuilder guy? It was a famous quote of him. But Ross said it very elegantly. He said, like, you don't have, sorry, have to take a day off if you are well recovered. Just move, do something else. It is not a must. It is not an obligatory. Okay, same as if you're hungry, eat. All right, like eat well, like move. Okay, do something. So yeah, you can train 6 days a week if you're smart enough, experienced enough, if you know how to do stuff, if you recover well, by all means, because recovery will be the opposite exercise that you do. All right, but please keep that in mind, okay? Like always listen between the lines that we're saying here, because you do stuff that you recover well from them, and you specifically do stuff that works for you. And since nobody else is Levi but Levi, emulating blindly your program will hopefully get them somewhere. If they're not like it, will injure them, like everybody else. So, okay, like again, like watch and then ask. Okay, like that's it. Okay, as basic as, and have patience, people, because it takes time to build this the volume adaptations and volume capacity. And yeah, burpees is great exercise. Maybe we should talk about it next time. Actually talking about more, because it is a great exercises, great exercise done well. And it's like you have burpees and pull-ups and you basically have yourself a very sexy physique.
Yeah.
Like, throw some pistols if you're talking body weight now, and you are like, you're covered. You basically need nothing else. But let's leave it for the next time.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah, so people, thank you. Again, if you need clarifications, because we kind of talked broadly about barbells in general, you are most than welcome to send us question, pick our brains and ask, and we will gladly answer and attain, because like both of us have a goal and a vision for you to do things right and correctly. And if you're doing stuff and you're touching kettlebells, you're touching barbells, first do it safely, do it right, like learn, and then you'll make your own choice whether to follow any program or whatever. So without further ado, thank you very much. You have a beautiful day, good ladies and great gentlemen. Thank you, Levi.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, enjoy. Let us enjoy our week and day. Have a beautiful lives, and we will see you on episode 11 next week. Cheers.
See ya.